Hello and welcome back to another week here at Knack Kitchen, where today we are making an orange spiced Christmas cake. And I know Christmas is about a couple of months ahead, but this cake should ideally be made in October so you can feed it and develop its flavor over time. So without any more delays, let's just see how we make this amazing Christmas cake. So the first thing that I like to do is soak my candied cherries in some orange juice because this is an orange spiced cake. So I'm just going to boil this in a saucepan until the orange juice is thick and almost like a syrup, and the cherry swells up and basically takes on all of the orange flavor. And it's mostly because I do not want the liquid of the orange juice, I just want the strong concentrated orange flavor. So now that most of our orange juice is evaporated, our cherries are ready. We're now going to move over to our cake batter, and here I have some unsalted butter, which I'm just going to beat for about 30 to 40 seconds until it's light and fluffy. Now if you don't have unsalted butter, you can use salted butter as well. And once our butter is lighter, we're going to go ahead and add our sugar, and here I'm using some dark soft brown sugar. You can use light brown sugar as well, but I would highly recommend that you use some kind of brown sugar. And now we're going to beat this for at least 2 to 3 minutes until it's lighter and the color is a lot lighter as well. And now we'll add our eggs one at a time, and after each addition we'll beat this mixture for about 30 seconds. So once the final egg has been added and beaten in, we're going to go ahead and add orange zest, and here I'm using a good tablespoon because the orange zest is going to provide a lot of the orange flavor to this cake. And once that has been beaten nicely, we're going to move over to our dry ingredients, and here I have some almond flour. You can just ground your almonds in a mixer grinder and that would work as well. To that I'm adding some plain flour. And before beating this in, I'm also going to add the spices. So here I have some allspice powder and some cinnamon powder. And apart from these two, I also like to add a little bit of cardamom powder and some nutmeg powder. Now, if you happen to have clove powder at your place or just cloves which you can grind in your mixer, you should add that as well, just about half a teaspoon, and that will give a wonderful flavor. Now we're going to beat this with our mixer for about a minute to a minute and a half until all of our dry ingredients have been well incorporated. At the same time, we have to be careful that we don't overbeat this batter because we aren't using a leavening agent, as you might have noticed, and that's because a Christmas cake is dense by its very nature. Now we are adding the cherries and some soaked fruits, but before I add them, let's just see how I got to them. So for the soaking liquid, here I have equal parts of sugar and water because I like to sweeten the soaking liquid because I add a lot of rum to this mixture. So here, once the sugar is dissolved, we're going to go ahead and add about half a cup of rum and boil that as well because that will just boil off some of the alcohol. And again, I add a lot of rum, so you don't need to worry, it'll still be a little boozy by the end of it. And here for the dry fruits, I have a mixture of cranberries, blueberries. You can use whichever fruits you like. It should be about 1 to 1.1 kilos. And here I first added the sugar soaked rum liquid, and now I'm adding a whole lot of rum. It's almost about half a liter to about 600 milliliters. It really would depend. Your guide to this is when the liquid reaches right about to the top of your fruits, that's when you know you're ready. So now we're going to add about 700 grams of that mixture over here. I'll have all the details in the description box in case you have any questions. And now we're just going to beat this through with a spatula until it is evenly combined. And A lot of the times you'd notice that people add some flour to their fruits because they worry that the fruits will sink to the bottom. But that does not happen to this particular cake because the batter is very thick, so the fruits don't really settle at the bottom, and you will see that eventually when I cut into it. So once we've mixed this in, our batter is ready and we're just going to transfer this to two loaf pans. These are about 9 by 5 inches, and you can make a single cake if you choose. This batter would be easily sufficient for a 9-inch round cake or an 8-inch square pan as well. And here I'm just evenly dividing the batter between the two cake tins. And once I have divided the batter, one thing which I like to do is cover my tin with foil. And I don't just do this once, I add 2 layers of foil because this cake bakes for a very long time, nearly 2 hours, and we don't want the edges to burn. So here I've added 2 layers of foil to my pan, and I've done the same to the other as well, and now this goes into a preheated oven for about 1 3/4 of an hour to about 2 hours. And after that, here as you can see, our cake is ready. If at any point you feel that your cake is browning too much, you can cover it with foil on the top as well. The reason that I like to refrigerate the cake in the tin itself for the first night is because it helps to ensure that the cake holds its shape. So on the next day, here I'm just going to show you what one of the cakes looks like because the other one is going to stay in the fridge until Christmas. And as you can see, the cake has been beautifully adorned with all of the fruits which has spread out evenly, and none of it has sunk to the bottom. As for the feeding schedule for the cake, do check out the description box below and you will find all of the details right over there. So here you have my interpretation of a classic Christmas fruit cake, a tradition in our house which I'm hoping to pass on to you. This cake is rich and fruity and a whole lot of boozy, but I hope that you love it just as much as I do. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please do drop a like, share and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next week.